Chapter 1: The First Day. Your alarm rings at exactly 7:03 a.m. on July 18, 2026, and you slap the snooze button without opening your eyes. Outside your apartment window, cars moving through the morning traffic like every other Tuesday, someone walking their dog, a delivery truck stopping across the street. Nothing feeling unusual or dangerous. In just a few hours, the world you know will disappear forever. You grab your phone and see several unread messages. News notifications, social media flooded with short videos, people arguing about something happening downtown, some claiming it's a riot, others calling it a virus. Most people assuming it's fake, and you do too. You make coffee as the smell fills your apartment, while the television plays quietly in the background. A news anchor reporting several violent incidents across the city, officials asking everyone to remain calm with no explanation given. Then the broadcast suddenly cuts away, and commercials begin playing instead. Curiosity wins and you decide to leave for work anyway. Outside something feels different as people aren't smiling. Traffic barely moves. Police sirens echo across the city, everyone seeming to be looking at their phones. Then you hear screaming as hundreds of people suddenly stop walking and everyone turns toward the intersection where a city bus crashes into several parked cars. Smoke rising into the air, nobody understanding what just happened until the passengers begin climbing out. At first they look injured, confused, bleeding. Then one of them attacks a police officer. Another bites a woman trying to help. Panic spreading instantly as the crowd begins running in every direction. Nobody knowing what they're running from, but only knowing they have to escape. You freeze as your brain refuses to believe what you're seeing. This can't be real. It has to be some kind of accident or prank. Then one infected person looks directly at you, their pale eyes locking onto yours, and they begin sprinting. And suddenly you realize this isn't a movie anymore. You're the one being hunted. Instinct finally takes over as you turn and run. Around you, the city explodes into chaos with car horns blaring without stopping. People screaming for loved ones, store owners slamming their doors shut, a little girl crying as her mother pulls her through the crowd. You don't know where you're going, but you only know one thing. If that thing catches you, you're dead. You hear gunshots behind you as police officers form a barricade near the intersection, shouting for everyone to stay back. One infected charging toward them without slowing down. The officers firing, the infected falling. Seconds later, it starts moving again, and that's when fear becomes terror. Because whatever this is, it isn't normal. You duck into a small convenience store where about 20 people are already inside, everyone talking at once, some crying, others calling family members, the cashier locking the front door. For a brief moment, it feels safe. Then something starts pounding on the glass outside. The glass cracks again and again. Then it shatters as infected people rush inside, panic erupting instantly. People scattering in every direction, shelves collapsing, someone grabbing your arm and shouting, "Run!" You escape through the back alley as your lungs burn and your legs feel heavy. You haven't stopped running for nearly 20 minutes. Behind you, the screams grow quieter. Not because people are safe, but because fewer people are left to scream. Your phone suddenly vibrates with an emergency alert reading, "Remain indoors immediately. Avoid physical contact with infected individuals." Military response is underway. The message ending with, "Good luck, everyone." And you've never seen an emergency alert sound so hopeless. As evening approaches, the city changes completely with fires burning across the skyline, helicopters circling overhead, sirens never stopping, electricity beginning to fail in nearby buildings. The world that existed this morning already disappearing. Night falls as you hide inside an abandoned office building, the silence feeling unnatural. Then a distant scream echoes through the darkness. Another follows, then dozens more looking out the window. You see thousands of figures wandering the streets below. This isn't a local outbreak anymore. This is the end of civilization, and tomorrow the city will fall. Chapter 2: The City Falls. Morning arrives, but the city doesn't wake up. No traffic. No school buses. No people rushing to work. The silence almost worse than the screams from last night. You cautiously leave the abandoned office building. Every street looking different with cars abandoned. Store windows shattered. Smoke still rising into the gray morning sky. Civilization collapsing overnight. Suddenly a military helicopter flies overhead. You wave both arms and shout for help. For one hopeful second it slows down, then flies away. There are simply too many survivors. They can't save everyone. You're on your own. You need supplies, water, food, medicine, everything you ignored yesterday suddenly priceless. You carefully enter a small grocery store, but most shelves are already empty. Other survivors were here first. Hidden beneath a checkout counter, you find a backpack, a flashlight, bottled water, a first aid kit, and an old wooden baseball bat. It isn't much, but for the first time, you feel slightly safer. As you leave, you hear a child's voice saying, "Help?" Your heart freezing as across the street, a young boy is trapped inside a school bus with 3 infected slowly moving toward him. You have seconds to decide. Every instinct tells you to run because survival means avoiding danger. But leaving the boy behind doesn't feel human. You grip the baseball bat tighter, take a deep breath, and sprint toward the bus. You shout as the infected turn toward you. Perfect. That was the plan. They leave the bus and begin chasing you instead, your heart pounding. Every second matters now. You swing the bat once, twice, 3 times, the infected stumbling backward. It isn't easy or heroic, but terrifying. You barely manage to escape with the child. The boy's name is Noah, only 10 years old. His parents disappearing during yesterday's panic. He hasn't eaten since yesterday morning. You share 1 bottle of water, half for him and half for you. Food suddenly becoming more valuable than money ever was. Together, you search for a safer place as every sound makes you stop. Every shadow feels dangerous. Every empty building hides uncertainty. The city isn't yours anymore. It belongs to the infected. As the sun begins setting, you hear something unexpected. Human voices ahead. 4 armed survivors stand behind a barricade. They see you and Noah, one raising a rifle and shouting, "Stop right there." You slowly raise your hands as the leader studies your face, then looks at the frightened child beside you. Several long seconds pass. Finally, he lowers his rifle saying, "You're not infected," and opens the barricade. But before you can step inside, hundreds of infected emerge from the streets behind you. The city has fallen, and now the real fight for survival begins. Chapter 3: Finding Survivors. The barricade gate closes behind you, and for the first time in 2 days you are surrounded by real people. Survivors. But instead of feeling safe, you feel nervous because everyone here has lost something. A family member, a friend, a home. The apocalypse didn't just destroy cities, but destroyed trust. The survivor group has turned an old community center into a temporary shelter with reinforced doors, covered windows, organized supplies, everyone having a job, someone watching the entrance, someone searching for food, someone treating injuries. Survival no longer about one person, but everyone working together. The leader introduces himself as Marcus. Before everything happened, he was a firefighter. Now he is responsible for keeping 23 people alive. He doesn't look like a hero, but exhausted because leadership during the end of the world doesn't mean giving orders, but carrying everyone's fear. Marcus asks where you found Noah. You explain what happened, how you could have escaped, how you almost walked away but didn't. Marcus looking at you silently, then saying something unexpected. That decision is why you're still human. Not everyone trusts you as a man named Daniel watches carefully, believing strangers are dangerous, saying every person who enters the shelter could bring infection. Nobody arguing because everyone knows he might be right. A medical worker checks everyone who enters. Temperature, eyes, injuries. Every person must prove they are safe. It feels uncomfortable and almost cruel, but one mistake could kill everyone inside. Hours pass as you finally sit down, your hands stopping shaking. The danger outside feeling distant. Someone giving you a small meal, a simple sandwich, the best meal you've ever tasted. Because now you understand that food isn't just food anymore, but survival. That night nobody sleeps well as every noise creates panic. A falling object, a distant scream, a scratching sound against the wall. Everyone waking instantly because the old world allowed people to ignore danger. But this world doesn't. The next morning, Marcus explains the situation. The shelter cannot last forever. Food running low, medicine limited, more infected moving closer every day. They need a new location. The group has 3 options: a military base outside the city, a farm several miles away, or a hospital where supplies might still exist. Every option has risks. Every option could mean death. The group votes and the farm wins with its open land, water source, space to grow food, a chance to build something permanent, but reaching it means crossing the city. Before leaving, Marcus gives everyone one warning. The infected are dangerous. But desperate people can be worse. And you remember those words, because the biggest threat after the apocalypse may not be the dead. The group leaves at sunrise with 23 survivors, 2 vehicles, limited supplies, one goal: find a place where humanity can start again. As the shelter disappears behind you, you realize you are no longer surviving alone. The journey begins quietly, too quietly, with empty streets, abandoned houses, forgotten belongings, the remains of normal life everywhere. Photos, toys, cars, memories, everything people once cared about left behind. As evening arrives, the vehicles stop because the road ahead is blocked by hundreds of abandoned cars covering the highway. No way around. Then you hear it from the forest beside the road. Not a zombie, not an animal, a human voice saying, "Please, help me?" Everyone raising their weapons because in this world a rescue could be a trap. Chapter 4: Running out of food. 2 days pass without finding the farm as the blocked highway forces everyone onto narrow back roads, progress becoming painfully slow, fuel running low, food disappearing even faster, every meal now carefully counted. Nobody complaining because everyone already knows the truth. Hunger has become your newest enemy. Breakfast used to be cereal, eggs, coffee. Now breakfast is half of a granola bar, 1 bottle of water shared between 2 people. Noah quietly asking if there's any more food. Nobody answering because nobody wants to lie. Marcus decides the group must search nearby houses as everyone spreads out. Most homes already looted with empty cupboards, broken furniture, open refrigerators. Every house telling the same story: someone got here first. Inside one kitchen you discover something unexpected. A family photo, a birthday cake still sitting on the dining table, toys scattered across the living room. It looks like they left in a hurry. You wonder if they survived or are now wandering outside. Suddenly glass breaks upstairs, everyone freezing, Marcus signaling for silence, your heartbeat becoming louder than the room itself, slow footsteps echoing above you, something still inside the house. A zombie slowly appears at the top of the stairs. Then another, then another. They aren't running but searching, Marcus whispering, "Back away slowly." Nobody arguing. Outside, everyone breathes again. Nobody bitten or hurt. But nobody found food either, time running out. The group cannot survive many more days like this. That afternoon, Noah notices an old roadside gas station, its sign barely standing. Maybe the convenience store hasn't been looted yet, hope returning just a little. The shelves are almost empty, but hidden in the storage room you find canned food. Rice, bottled water, enough supplies for another week. Everyone's smiling for the first time in days. Then a loud alarm begins ringing. The alarm echoes across the countryside as birds fly into the sky, the sound carrying for miles. Marcus shouting, "Grab everything," because noise attracts the infected. Within minutes you hear growling outside, then footsteps, then dozens of them. Every window revealing more infected arriving, the building surrounded. Escape won't be easy. Marcus points toward the rear door saying, "Stay together. Nobody gets left behind." The group pushing outside, running through nearby fields carrying every bag they can. The infected chasing them across open farmland. One survivor trips and bags scatter everywhere. Without thinking, Ethan turns back, grabs the survivor's arm, pulls them to their feet. Together you escape. Nobody left behind. As darkness falls, the group finally stops. Everyone exhausted, covered in dirt, hungry but alive. Marcus quietly smiling and saying, "Today we won." Just before everyone falls asleep, a bright light appears on the horizon. Not fire, not lightning, a powerful spotlight. Someone somewhere still has electricity. Marcus slowly standing and saying, "Tomorrow we're going there." Nobody realizing that decision is about to change everything. Chapter 5: The Safe House. The mysterious spotlight shines through the night as nobody sleeps well. Hope is a dangerous thing, sometimes keeping you alive and sometimes getting you killed. As the sun rises, Marcus gives the order to move. Whatever is creating that light you're about to find out. After several hours of walking, you finally see it. A large farming compound with tall wooden walls. Watchtowers, solar panels, vegetable gardens. For the first time since the outbreak, it actually looks like people are living, not just surviving. Armed guards appear on the walls without smiling or waving. One shouting, "State your business." Marcus slowly stepping forward with hands visible, nobody wanting a misunderstanding. Not now. After a long conversation, the gates slowly open. Inside you see something you haven't seen in days. Children laughing, people cooking, someone watering crops. It almost feels normal. The community leader introduces herself as Sarah. Before the outbreak, she managed a disaster relief organization. Now she leads nearly 60 survivors. Every person here contributes because nobody survives alone. Sarah explains the rules. Everyone works. Everyone shares food. Everyone protects each other. Stealing isn't tolerated. Violence isn't tolerated. Trust is the most valuable resource they have. For the first time, you eat until you're full with fresh vegetables, bread, soup. Noah smiling while eating. The first genuine smile you've seen from him. For one evening, the apocalypse almost disappears. The next morning, everyone receives a job. Some guard the walls, some collect water, some farm, others repair equipment. You volunteer for patrol duty because sitting still has become impossible. During patrol, you notice something unusual. The zombies never approach the walls alone, always arriving from the same direction, almost as if something keeps drawing them there. That night you ask Sarah about it. She hesitates, then quietly says, "There's another group nearby. They're dangerous. And they don't just steal supplies." Before she can explain further, a loud bell rings as everyone jumps to their feet, guards shouting movement outside. You rush toward the wall expecting zombies, but what you see is much worse. Dozens of people stand outside the compound. Not infected, but humans, armed, wearing scavenged body armor. Their leader stepping forward with a smile that has nothing friendly about it, saying, "Open the gate or we'll take it." Nobody speaks, nobody moves. Every survivor understands the zombies aren't attacking today. "People are," Sarah quietly whispering. "Get everyone inside. This is going to be a long night." You tighten your grip on the baseball bat. Just days ago your biggest fear was the infected. Now you aren't so sure because zombies only want one thing, but some people want everything. As darkness covers the compound, the hostile group lights dozens of torches. They don't attack, but simply wait, watching, smiling, patient. You suddenly understand their plan. They know the zombies are coming. They're waiting for the walls to fall so they can take whatever survives. Chapter 6. Betrayal. Morning arrives, but nobody feels relieved as the raiders never attacked, but simply watched the compound all night, waiting, studying, learning every weakness. Inside the walls, nobody says it out loud, but everyone knows something is coming. Marcus organizes extra patrols. Sarah doubles the night watch. Every gate reinforced, every window checked, everyone working harder than ever. Yet one question refuses to disappear. How do the raiders always know where survivors are hiding? During your patrol, you notice fresh footprints leading toward a small side gate, the gate appearing locked, but something feels wrong. Someone has been using it recently. That evening, you quietly return to the gate, and instead of standing guard, you hide nearby. Minutes pass. Then the gate slowly opens. A survivor steps outside. It's Daniel, the same man who never trusted you. He looks around carefully, then hands a small backpack to one of the raiders waiting in the darkness. Food, medicine, information. He's been helping them. You can't believe it as Daniel isn't being forced but doing it willingly. Maybe he thinks he'll be spared. Maybe he believes they'll let him join them. Either way, his betrayal could destroy everyone inside the compound. You quietly return to Sarah as Marcos listens without interrupting, nobody wanting to accuse someone without proof. So they decide to wait one more night, one more meeting, one chance to catch him. The following night, Daniel returns again. This time, Sarah and Marcus are waiting with lanterns illuminating the gate. Daniel freezing because he knows he's been caught. Daniel doesn't deny it, but instead laughs, saying, "You think these walls will save you? The raiders promised protection. You people are already dead." The silence feeling colder than the night air. Before anyone can react, a loud explosion shakes the compound as the main gate splinters, and raiders charge forward while zombie growls echo through the darkness. Daniel's betrayal doing exactly what the raiders wanted, attracting a horde. Chaos erupts as raiders climb walls and zombies force their way through broken barricades while survivors defend every corner. For the first time, humans and infected attack together not as allies, but as the same disaster. Ethan finds Noah hiding beneath a table, terrified and frozen, kneeling beside him saying, "Stay with me, don't let go." Noah grabbing your hand and neither of you letting go. Sarah gives the order to forget the compound and save the people because food can be replaced, buildings rebuilt, but lives cannot. Everyone beginning to evacuate through the rear fields. You look back one last time at the community that gave everyone hope burning. Weeks of hard work gone in minutes. The apocalypse not just destroying cities, but sometimes destroying dreams. Long after midnight, the survivors finally stop with only 38 people remaining. More than 20 missing, nobody knowing who escaped and who didn't. Sarah quietly counting the survivors, then looking toward the distant mountains saying, "We're heading north." Marcus nodding. Ethan looking down at Noah, the road ahead colder, longer, and more dangerous than ever before. Chapter 7. The Long Winter. 3 weeks pass as winter arrives faster than anyone expected. The roads disappearing beneath thick snow, rivers freezing, trees standing completely silent, even the infected moving more slowly in the freezing temperatures. But don't mistake that for safety, because cold can kill just as easily as zombies, sometimes even faster. Every breath creates white clouds as your fingers ache despite wearing gloves. Noah walking beside you in silence, nobody wasting energy talking anymore. Every step feeling heavier, every mile longer. Survival becoming a battle against nature itself. Food is nearly gone as 1 can of beans feeds 4 people. Water must be melted from snow. Firewood collected every afternoon. Every survivor becoming a worker with nobody getting a day off anymore because the apocalypse doesn't care how tired you are. Marcus spots smoke rising beyond the trees as smoke means fire and fire means people or danger. Either way, you have to investigate because hope and risk now travel together. You carefully approach, and hidden among the trees you discover an abandoned hunting cabin, the chimney still warm. Someone here recently, but now completely empty. Inside you find blankets, firewood, dried food, medical supplies, enough to survive several more weeks. For the first time since leaving the safe house, hope returns. That night, snow falls quietly outside as the cabin feels warm. Noah laughing while playing cards with another survivor, Sarah smiling. Marcus finally closing his eyes. It almost feels like life before the outbreak, almost. Just after midnight, you wake to a strange sound. Not growling, not footsteps, but a radio. Faint, broken, but unmistakably human. Somewhere someone is broadcasting. Marcus adjusts the radio as static fills the room. Then a voice breaks through saying, "This is Northern Military Base Echo. Safe zone remains operational. All survivors proceed north." The message repeating again and again. Nobody knows if the broadcast is real. It could be weeks old. It could be a trap. It could be humanity's last hope. Sarah looking around the room with nobody needing convincing as north becomes the new destination. Before sunrise, the group prepares to leave as fresh snow has covered every footprint. The world looking untouched, beautiful, peaceful. Yet somewhere beneath that silence, danger still waits. Halfway through the forest, Noah suddenly stops and points toward the trees as you see movement. One figure, then another, then dozens. The infected have followed your tracks. Running through deep snow is impossible as every step drains your strength. The group spreading out, Marcus shouting directions, Sarah helping the injured, nobody panicking because panic wastes energy, and energy means survival. Just as the infected get closer, a deafening explosion echoes across the valley as snow falls from the trees and the infected stop, every head turning toward the mountains. Someone has heavy weapons. A military helicopter appears through the clouds, circling above the valley, not searching randomly, but searching for you. A loudspeaker echoing through the snow saying, "Attention survivors, remain where you are." Hope filling everyone's eyes until Ethan notices something. The helicopter isn't rescuing people. It's tracking the horde behind them, and whatever happens next will change the war forever. A chapter. In the last stand, the helicopter circles above your group as snow swirls beneath its powerful rotors. Nobody moving, nobody speaking. Every survivor watching with hope. After weeks of running, maybe this is finally the rescue you've been praying for. Then the helicopter flies past you straight toward the massive horde behind. The helicopter crew isn't looking at survivors but counting infected. One soldier photographing the valley, another marking locations on a digital tablet. They aren't preparing a rescue but planning a battle. Marcus quietly whispering, "We're standing in the middle of a war zone." Suddenly a loudspeaker echoes across the valley saying, "Attention civilians, evacuate immediately. Military containment operation begins in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? That's all the warning you get." Marcus quickly studies the map, finding only one safe route. A narrow mountain bridge. If everyone reaches it, they might survive. If not, the explosion will consume everything. Everyone starts running with children first, elderly survivors next, the strongest remaining behind, not because they want to fight, but because someone has to slow the horde. Ethan grips the wooden baseball bat as Marcus loads his last few rounds while Sarah helps the injured keep moving. Nobody saying goodbye because everyone already understands some people may not reach tomorrow. The first infected arrive, then 50 more, then hundreds, the snow-covered valley transforming into a moving sea of infected, every direction, every sound, every heartbeat filled with danger. Marcus shouts, "Fall back!" as nobody tries to defeat the horde because survival isn't about winning every fight, but knowing which battles cannot be won. Everyone retreating toward the mountain bridge. Noah suddenly stops as one elderly survivor has fallen behind. Without hesitation, Noah runs back. Ethan immediately follows. Together they help the old man back to his feet, nobody getting left behind. The bridge finally comes into view as one by one survivors cross, while the helicopter circles overhead, waiting, watching, timing everything perfectly. The last survivor reaches the far side as Ethan turns around, the infected seconds away, the helicopter suddenly climbing higher. Marcus looking toward the sky, knowing exactly what's coming. Bright flashes appear beneath the helicopter as missiles streak toward the valley. Seconds later, massive explosions shake the mountains, snow and smoke filling the air, the ground trembling beneath your feet. When the smoke finally clears, the valley is silent as thousands of infected are gone. Trees scattered, the bridge behind you collapsed. There is no way back now, only forward. The helicopter lands nearby as soldiers step out with clean uniforms and modern equipment. One officer approaching Sarah, then saying the words everyone has waited weeks to hear. "Follow us. There's still hope." As the helicopter lifts off once more, Ethan looks back across the frozen mountains. The journey has changed everyone. Friends lost, homes destroyed, the old world gone forever. But somewhere beyond these mountains, humanity is still fighting. And for the first time since the outbreak, you truly believe tomorrow might exist. Chapter 9A, New Beginning. The helicopter flies north for nearly an hour as beneath you entire cities lie silent. Empty highways disappearing beneath snow. Smoke still rising from distant towns. The world looking frozen in time. You realizing that civilization didn't disappear but simply stopped. Eventually mountains begin surrounding the helicopter and hidden between them. You finally see it. Massive concrete walls, guard towers, wind turbines, solar farms, hundreds of lights, humanity is still alive. As you land, doctors rush toward the survivors as every newcomer is examined, every injury treated, every person registered, nobody ignored. For the first time, survival feels organized. Inside the walls, life continues as children attend small classrooms, engineers repair equipment, farmers grow vegetables inside heated greenhouses, scientists study the infection, soldiers protect the perimeter, humanity hasn't surrendered. A military commander welcomes everyone, explaining that dozens of safe zones still exist across the country, communicating by radio every day, supplies limited, but hope remains. The world isn't lost but rebuilding. Noah smiles more than you've ever seen as he's finally sleeping through the night. Has friends again, a warm bed, 3 meals a day. Watching him laugh reminds you why you kept fighting. Survival was never just about staying alive, but protecting the future. Marcus joins the settlement's security team as Sarah helps organize new arrivals. Every survivor finding a purpose. Everyone contributing because rebuilding civilization isn't one person's job, but everyone's responsibility. One afternoon, scientists invite you into their laboratory, explaining the infection is changing. Some infected slowing down, others disappearing entirely. Winter may be weakening the virus. It's not a cure, but a beginning. Weeks become months as new farms grow, roads cleared, power returns to more buildings, small victories adding up. The apocalypse hasn't ended, but humanity has stopped losing. One evening, Ethan stands on the northern wall looking across the mountains as the silence feels different now, no longer filled with fear but possibility, remembering everyone who never made it here, their sacrifice building this future. A radio operator suddenly calls your name as another survivor convoy has been spotted with families and children still searching for hope. Without hesitation, you volunteer to help rescue them. As the rescue convoy leaves, you notice something. Months ago, you were the one waiting for help. Today, you're the one bringing it. Survival has changed you forever. You finally understand why surviving a zombie apocalypse truly sucks. Not because of the zombies, not because of the hunger, not even because of the fear, but because every single day you're forced to say goodbye to the world you once knew again and again. But survival also teaches something unexpected. Hope is stronger than fear, kindness stronger than hate, community stronger than individuals. And no matter how dark the world becomes, people will always find reasons to help each other. 1 year after the outbreak, the gates open once again as Ethan steps outside with a rescue team. Not because the world is safe, but because someone out there is still waiting. Somewhere a frightened stranger is waking up, believing they're completely alone, just like you once did. This time they'll see a rescue helicopter instead of a zombie horde. They'll see hope instead of despair. And maybe that's how the world truly begins again. The zombies weren't the hardest part. Staying human was.